brother David here, David Lufstrap from Sweden. And David, I know we had a lot of topics, and I know we gave you carte blanche, come in whatever you wanted to talk about at the beginning. But I know we wanted to save this part for what's going on in Sweden and in Europe and some of the things you've seen there. And of course, we got another section on technology. But what's going on in Sweden? The Muslim invasion there that was, of course, perpetrated by the government, illegal immigration. But they're also targeting Swedes in Brussels and in Europe. So can you share a little bit about that before we get into the other topics?
Yes. So basically the government, the previous government, they allowed an uncontrolled immigration wave, which led to, this a lot of headache, I would say. And a lot of those immigrants are, of course, Islamists or Muslims. And now, of course, we have had supporting demonstrations for Hamas, which
Incredible.
Is very, it's insane. And actually there are, but I think Swedes are actually, regular Swedes are not in favor of that. They understand it's wrong, but no one speaks up. It's just everything is just quiet, and also we have a history of left-wing journalism here that always lifts up the Palestinian cause.
Really?
In every case, yeah.
Are they from America? Are they from the United States? Because we have a lot of them here.
Okay, well, this actually stretches back from the 70s, I think, wow. Or even so. So it's very rooted here, I would say. And yeah, I just don't understand how they reason when you see what has happened down there, and you actually want to believe that it's, you want to justify it. It's laughable, to be honest. I can have no words for it. It's just you know what they did. They deserve to be so punished. But they still try to find ways to justify their deeds. It's incredible. I don't know how to describe this. I think it's terrible.
David,
regarding sorry.
I'm sorry. I just had a question because it's actually being talked about in chat real quick. Given the pacificity of Sweden right now, and with all the illegal immigration that's going on, there's some comments saying that Sweden seems to be lost. Is there a glimmer of hope in Sweden to actually overcome some of these current issues with the unrestricted immigration, and then also claiming back its culture?
That's a good question. Thank you for that chat. Thank you, Jay. Thank you for whoever sent it. Appreciate it. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, I think, of course, it's not lost in a way, assuming enough people come and support the opposing side, But if everyone has to remain quiet, which is a pretty common trait here, it's a terrible situation. No one dares to say anything because I guess most of them are cowards. But and it's just the status quo people. I don't know how to describe it. It's incredible. And with that attitude, yes, then it's a lost cause. But one thing that we have done is that we've actually people got tired of this, so they actually voted for different governments. And in that way, I'm not certain yet that it's completely lost, But this government at least dares to speak up against, the most serious forms of atrocities and what do you say, the errors that many of these people bring with them, And but the left-wing people, they're just in complete denial, willfully blind, I would say. So that is my perspective on it. I don't say it's completely lost, but I don't. If people just stay in a status quo world, yes, then it will be lost.
David, another question that I have is, culturally speaking, there's a Japanese proverb that says the unhammered nail desires to be beaten down. Would you say that Sweden has a similar thing, that they feel that the person that is complaining, the person that's being outspoken, that person is, because of their nonconformity, they should be, put to the side? Is that a similar cultural attribute, that they'd much rather get along to go along rather than stick out and actually be proactive?
Well, it's yeah, in a way it's true. I mean, usually, political correctness was a really big thing here, and so in a way it's true, yeah. But if it's too bad, people still react. But it has to be terribly bad, and then they usually don't say that much. And then after that, they typically vote for the different government, and that's how it shows. So,
thank you for your answer.
David, you mentioned, thank you, brother. You mentioned something about the, your concerns about what's going on, the trends that you see, not only in Sweden. I think they killed, was it 2 Swedes in Belgium that they killed?
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot about that. Yeah. So
go ahead.
That is the Quran burnings that has been happening in Sweden and Denmark mostly. And that has to do with certain individuals. And of course, I actually saw one of them by accident. I didn't go actively to see it, just happened to pass by. But of course, I can question their motives. I don't think they're actually, at least not the Danish guy, really wants to hates the Quran or anything. He just wants to, push a few buttons, so to speak. But the Iraqi guy, I think he's Iraqi. Sure, I can imagine that he's been, in war against people there. So maybe he's got a more honest intention, to just take a stand against it. But the problem is that, we got pretty many immigrants, and if they start to cause a problem, it becomes a problem for the law enforcement. And the law enforcement, they now ask for military help, and that is, and also one more thing, that new government that we have, I mean, not that new, but fairly new. They are actually going to pass through a couple of changes in the law now that allows the law enforcement to monitor and people that are completely innocent just because of this. So that is, I'd say, a bit worrying, to be honest.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That I didn't know that was going on. You mentioned to me the trends that you see with the Islamic invasion, of course, in Europe and around the Western world. You mentioned something. It could be the reason that sparks the event of the second horse, and I agree with you on that. The second horse and the horseman of the apocalypse in Revelation 6, that could spark it. It's not it, but it could spark it. Can you comment that a little bit? Maybe we'll let Jacob comment that as well, regarding taking peace from the earth. Because that's what the Revelation 6, I think it's 14, talks about. The second horseman of the apocalypse takes peace from the earth. Any thoughts on that, David?
Well, of course, I don't claim it is that. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Of course.
So
to
be clear, that I don't try to say that it is. But if they cause too much problem, people will get really angry. And you might actually end up in civil war, So it's it's that could be really dangerous.
this is a worldwide thing. It's not just isolated to a specific area. It
No,
just seems
exactly.
like
So you see them protesting, and one there are some Christian channels here actually that are discussing, what if those we brought in are capable of the same kind of actions that we see down in Israel?
Really? They said that?
Yeah, they actually asked
wow.
that question, a rhetorical question. And so they're actually discussing this in some Christian communities. But so that is, of course, if, as I said, if enough people cause a stir, they might actually cause a big problem. So, but that's just, as I said, I don't claim it is, but
right.
It's just an interesting thought. So.
I did have the same concerns because here in the United States, you see the same thing. There's an applause, there's standing ovations, there's protests for Hamas. It seems to be even college students, high school students, politicians standing up for Hamas and literally rooting for the extermination of the Jews, the killing of babies, the innocent people that died, as if it's something that it was morally equivalent to the Jews defending themselves, because the Jews defend themselves, and this is the right thing to do to Jews. And it led me to think, like, at some point, this moral relativism, this idea that you're allowed to kill another person just on the basis of you don't agree, and it's openly cheered, can lead to a persecution of the Jews, persecution, obviously, we've seen that, persecution of believers worldwide, as you said. And you mentioned something about the iron not sticking to the clay. Can you comment on that as well? What they tried in Sweden, the multiculturalism there and around the world. Obviously, it's not just a Swedish problem, but it's a worldwide problem.
Yeah, it's this. Let's call it leftist idea. I don't know if that is correct, but in my mind it is. And yes. It's just that everyone are equal in every respect, and therefore we can just mix everyone together in one big, nice pot or something, and hope that it will just turn out in a good soup or something. I have no idea how they think, but that is how they think, I think. And it just doesn't work because they're so different cultures. They're not culturally compatible. I don't know how to describe it. It's just impossible. I don't. It's just the iron just don't stick to the clay. It's just it's just very good description of the situation, I would say.